again, I'm not anybody special, and I'm certainly not here to preach to anybody, but just from coming from somebody who was just really just in a really just fucked up place. Like, and I use that word like with discretion, but in this case it describes like where I was. Like, that guy found a lot of peace like from this book and
From
from
looking at things in a different way,
yeah.
from looking at things through the
Well,
eyes of
yeah,
Scripture.
and I think for
So this is this Oliver Anthony guy went on to Joe Rogan's show to witness, I guess, or I guess a part of it was witnessing or whatever. They had a conversation about his Christian beliefs. And this really smug, the smug douche of a YouTuber is covering it. So we're gonna have to see what this is all about. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. All right, so this is basically it's gonna be this really weird smug. I don't even know what his name is. I don't give a shit. But there's this guy, this really smug YouTuber, and he is just talking about this Oliver Anthony dude on Joe Rogan. So let's give it a watch, see how it goes. God, I hate this guy. Is just such a dickhead. Like, I don't know how much I can't emphasize that enough. This guy is an idiot and just so pompous about it. He reminds me of Joey from Friends. When Joey's all like idiot, but he's like clearly being super stupid. That's this guy.
Hey guys, Colin here, and this is a video of Oliver Anthony telling Joe Rogan about his journey to discovering God and Christianity.
again, I'm not anybody special, and I'm certainly not here to preach to anybody, but just from coming from somebody who was just really just in a really just fucked up.
What is it? Hey, word food here. Hey, what's up, man? What do you say? Oh yeah, Joe Rogan. Multiple concussions and lots of drugs are a weird combo. That's right. I forgot he was like a fighter or something, right? I always just knew him as like the comedian. I remember him back in the day being all right. He wasn't terrible, a comedian back in the day. Um, Although he just ended up being the hosts of stuff. Anyway, that's mostly what I know him from. It's just like a stand-up comedian and Fear Factor, and that's it.
Place. Like, and I use that word like with discretion, but in this case it describes like where I was.
You see that? Look, it said, hold on, let me go back here.
Somebody who was just really just in a really just fucked up.
It says, I don't endorse the language here. And it was taken out. He's like, I don't endorse the language that I took out of the video. Like, yeah, no shit, man. It's not in the video. You took it out. That's how much you don't endorse it.
Place. Like, and I use that word like with discretion, but in this case it describes like where I was. Like,
What does that mean? Who uses the word fuck with discretion? Like, hold on, I'm just, I use this word with a lot of discretion. So take that with what you will, because that doesn't mean anything. But anyway,
that guy found a lot of peace like from this book and
From
from
looking at things in a different way.
I love it how his audience is so stupid. It literally said the Bible when it's like, if you wait 2 seconds, he'll make it very clear which fucking book he's talking about.
yeah.
From looking at things through the eyes
Well,
of
yeah,
Scripture.
and I think for me it was like I'd been in church growing up, and I'd been exposed to all of that.
So
but
discreet.
I'd found a lot of theatrics and a lot of politics in church and in religion when I was younger, and so it just immediately turned me off to it.
So if you can,
Yeah, because that's all it is. All right, it's everything everybody needs to manipulate you into doing, and that's just in any type of way you can think. Any way that somebody can use a belief system to manipulate and get stuff out of people, that's religion.
and take us to like what was like the day you picked it up.
Dude, what does he look? Hold on a second.
Tricks in a
Does
lot of
it looks
politics
like-
in church and in religion when I was younger, and so it just immediately turned me off to it.
So if you can, take us.
Doesn't it look like he's wearing? Okay, do you remember? I live in Florida, so this isn't something that I used to wear very frequently. but every so often we would go up north for camping and stuff, right? And this is what I used to wear to sleep. This this is, I think they call them long johns or long underwear, something like that. I think the Mormons have like a really special kind or something. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with it.
To like what was like the day you picked it up?
Now, for those who don't know, Oliver Anthony is a blue-collar country singer from West Virginia who rose to fame because of his hit song, Rich Men North of Richmond. This song laments
So
about
funny.
the sad...
Long johns. Okay, I was gonna say yeah. And this song, Richmond North of Richmond, whatever. I don't know. I was like looking at it and I'm reading the lyrics, and it's like it totally, you can see exactly why it appeals to conspiracy people, like because there's a line about like Epstein's Island, and this really smart double entendre about miners, like the people working in the mines and then miners on the island. It's brilliant, that really, drew in a lot of the crazy people, right? But then he also goes on to like blame exactly the wrong people. And so it's amazing when conservatives can sit there and be like, yeah, all this stuff is wrong. It's not good. And you're like, yeah, you're right. All that stuff is not good. We don't get paid shit and everybody's, busting their ass for practically nothing. And we're all like, yeah. And you know what it is? It's those fat people's fault that are on welfare. It's like, what, man? Really? Like it's like he doesn't understand how being poor works. Uh, have you ever looked at the price of health food, man? It's fucking expensive. All right, it's hard to be healthy. Actually, it costs extra money to be healthy, which means the people that can't afford to be healthy are eating whatever the fuck they can get in their face without before they fucking starve. All right, and yeah, that ends up like causing weight issues, not to mention like work where you don't have any time. And a lot of these jobs, because you're having to work so many hours, and then you're also not like moving around a lot at work. You're just standing there taking orders at McDonald's or whatever. Yeah, you're gonna gain fucking weight, man. That's what's gonna happen. All right. And it's because of being poor. And which is, it's just so funny that he's this like hardworking guy, whatever, but he's blaming the poor people. And it's like, dude, you fucking idiot. Why don't you blame the wealthy people that are controlling everything? The whole song's called Richmond North of Richmond, and you're blaming poor people. How fucking stupid can you get?
Sad state of modern American society, especially as a result of the actions of the political class. But what most people don't know is that Oliver Anthony isn't just some sort of political...
Warfree said this guy's music is genuinely awful. I didn't listen to it. I just looked up the lyrics. Because country music makes me want to tear my fucking eyes out. I know, it goes in through your ears, but I would just get rid of my eyes too. That's how much I hate it. All right.
Mouthpiece. He's a professing Christian. And the man he's speaking to, Joe Rogan, is a passionate atheist comedian and UFC commentator who happens to have the biggest podcast.
Who the fuck? When has he ever said that he's atheist? That's not accurate at all. He would be considered an agnostic at best. Like, and I say at best, like closest to what he's claiming he is,
in the entire world. So the fact that Oliver is so confidently speaking about his Christian walk to Joe is nothing short of amazing. You see, after Oliver says that he's...
Have you not watched this? This is like the 40th time I've like watched clips, because I don't watch Joe Rogan's show. I find it boring. I don't know why people are so into it, but I've watched a bunch of clips from his show of people being like, well, actually, the metaphorical substrate is in the Bible as the greatest narrative of all time, and shit like that, where they're just going off about the Bible. And there's been tons of people that have done this, and he's like, it's amazing when they go to Joe Rogan and talk about their Christian beliefs. Really, man, it's amazing. It's happened like a million times.
Fed up with the theatrics of many modern churches, he also talks about why he changed his perspective on religion and on the Bible.
Take me to what you did. Did you start reading the Bible? Like, what did you do?
I just changed my perspective.
You changed.
I quit worrying about me.
Hold on. Let's take a second to appreciate the other thing up there. It said demonic Barbie exposed. Let's just think about that for a second. That's on this channel.
and I started worrying about
Demonic.
what it is that I'm supposed to do. You know, like it talks in the Bible about being a servant, and giving up, I guess, my desire and my will and whatever it is that I want to do. Like, I don't know the best way to describe it, but
Clearly.
it's about trying to use what I have as a tool versus doing what I can in the moment to give myself whatever satisfaction that it is I'm trying to get. It's about trying to let go of your ego, I guess, in a way.
It's amazing that Christians will sit there and say all this stuff. I'm so fascinated by it, but then they'll turn around and vilify poor people, vilify people for not having bad luck and being in extremely destitute situations, and they're like, guys, fucking people just with their poverty, just gah, get a job, that's like it's just so shitty that they can look down on the poor in this way. And then, but their whole thing is like, I figured out that it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about everybody. It's about helping people. That's what it's about there. Like, I mean, oh my God. And then turn around, but then fuck them Poors. Them Poors ruin it for everybody. And look, some of them are even overweight. How poor is that? Oh, Jesus, you fucking idiot.
This is incredibly simple, yet incredibly profound. Oliver began with a fundamental shift of mind. Life is not all about him. Life is about God and about others, and this perfectly mirrors the first and second greatest commandments given to us by Jesus in Matthew 22.
God and others. Yet they hate socialism. They hate communism. They hate anything where it would actually make it within the system an expectation of having just the bare minimum needs met of humans. They're like, fuck all that. No, we need people to at least be able to be destitute. It's probably their fault. They probably deserve it. I talk to homeless people that want to be homeless. That's what that is. Okay. They said, you're like, look, I'm just glad that I have the freedom to be homeless. And I'm not even kidding. I've heard people say that. And it reminds me so much of let me put it this way. If the punk rock subculture, if you will, came out of a bunch of latchkey kids and a lot of divorce and a lot of anger at their parents and stuff like that. There was a kind of it was basically following right after the Leave It to Beaver kind of lifestyle started to fall asunder, and so many divorces were happening and so on and so forth, right? And this would be like going to one of those kids and being like, hey, why are you punk rock? And expecting them to be like, well, I'm a latchkey kid who has been mistreated by my dad. And, we're really angry and we don't have anything to do. Like, they're not going to say that. They're going to say, cause fuck them, fuck the system. I'm punk rock like that. They're going to lie. So it's just, and people tend to not be like, well, I was just so desperate that I did it. That's what that, nobody's going to say that. Of course, there's homeless people saying, oh yeah, well, I choose to be of course they're saving face, man. That's how humans rationalize things, when they're in those desperate those desperate places in life, they will rationalize it.
Love God and love others. And Oliver also says that he wants to be used as a tool to serve God rather than live in a way that revolves around his own self-pleasure and self-image. Think about how astonishing that statement is in the world we live in. You see, we live in a world that's full of self-indulgence. If you don't believe me, go scroll through TikTok for about 30 seconds and you'll change your mind. Our culture is obsessed with the ultimate.
It's a great song. I love that song. Punk rock. Oh, you said changed. My bad. It's a different. Punk rock saved my life is a great song too. But yeah, hell yeah, man. Me too. I was raised on it, man. It's just the only type of rebellion I could get from the Christian upbringing I had.
Ultimate freedom of the self. And Oliver knows this too, which is why he goes on, telling Joe Rogan more about it.
I mean, it's the idea of there being something bigger than you, but I think inherently all human beings idolize something. Like it talks in the Bible about false idols. We all have false idols, like whether it's our phone or it's a celebrity or it's something we do or it's our addiction to food or drugs or whatever. But it's very difficult for a human to be the biggest thing on their hierarchy. There's always something above us, right? Because we're always in pursuit of something bigger than whatever it is in that moment. And I think for me, it was just about taking everything else, all the distractions and all the other things in my life away and just ensuring that at least, and look, we're all we all sin and we all do stupid things, but it's just about trying to make that my idol, make God and the concept of what it is that he wants done on this earth my idol versus anything else.
And you get this a lot, right? That these people like say, "Oh, everybody's got an idol." Well, it might be your phone. So it ends up being just anything that you need, and that you use on a daily basis, and then maybe like don't hate it. Maybe everybody needs to use their fucking phone, man. Like this is crazy that we're like, oh, you idolize your phone. Really? Are you sure? You sure that's what's happening? Or they just use it because it's something to use when they're bored. You know what I mean? Like, that's not idolizing your phone. Idolizing is like what they do about with like Jesus and stuff, where they just can't talk about anything but Jesus all the time. You know, that's idolizing something. That's an idol or whatever. But like just using your phone and enjoying it is like what the fuck. And then taking medication, even drugs and stuff. I'm like, look, humans need to do stuff. We as a species, we're not idle creatures. We're not good just sitting and doing nothing, right? So when you don't have anything to do because you're fucking poor, what are you're gonna do something. You're gonna occupy your time some way. And if you can't get those dopamine hits from just enjoying life with natural highs and everything, you're gonna get them with unnatural means, like just sticking a chemical in you that's like, it worked. There we go. Okay, now I feel at least somewhat okay. you know?
Like we all serve some master, whether we realize it or not. So why not let it be the master that is above all?
Now, this part is seriously important. We need to make sure that we don't miss the point. First, Oliver Anthony says that all human beings participate to some extent in idolatry, the worship of a God who is not the true God. The way he sees it, all people must aim.
It's funny. He brings up like the most stupid part of the Bible. Like even as a kid, I remember reading that part of the Bible going, what the fuck is what? Why would they do that's really stupid. Why would they need to worship an idol? It doesn't make any sense. Like I just read like because this is the part of the Bible where they go to Mount Ararat, or is it Mount Ararat? I don't know. It's one of the mountains. He goes up and is getting the 10 Commandments from God or whatever. He goes up. He just did all this miraculous shit, the clouds, they split the waters, all this type of stuff, right? And then he leaves for like 10 minutes, comes back, and they're already built an idol and are like worship. Like, man, you were taking like 10 minutes. Like we had to worship something. Okay, what are we supposed to do down here? Just not worship thing? Like, what do you do? Come on, man. It was the most unrealistic part of the entire Bible.
For something ultimate. We all must prioritize something above all else. And this would be our idol, so to speak. And the examples given by Oliver...
This guy talks like he's made of AI. Like AI just was like, can you, if you're just like, can you give me some pompous Christian child? And they're like, got it. And then this kid just fell out of the printer.
Are obviously relevant. Our phones, our celebrities, our drugs, our food, etc.
That was Adderall.
The Bible speaks to this very topic. There are those who believe that they are serving themselves, that they are free in a sense, when in reality they are merely slaves to their own desires. Romans 6 says that we were all at one point slaves to our sin.
Imagine how stupid that is. You're just a slave to your own desires. Isn't that just in and of itself an oxymoron? Like, isn't that just like a married bachelor? Like, you're like a slave to doing what you want to do. What? I don't think you know what a slave means. Like, I don't think you know what that word means. And it's really funny that Christians can convince people that they are slaves to doing what they want to do. Usually, and this is why they usually snag them up when they've made some bad choice and are destitute or whatever, or are blaming themselves for just situations that happen, because that is genuinely more what happens, I think. People tend to just blame themselves, and then Christians just take advantage of that. And they're like, your choices got you here. Maybe you should stop making choices and you let us make your choices for you. That is religion in a fucking nutshell. Let us just make your decisions for you. And if you do make any decisions on your own, well, that's sinful and that'll send you to hell. It's It's incredible the amount of control that you can get out of just fucking with people's heads.
But now we are slaves to righteousness, slaves to Christ. And this point from
Slaves.
Oliver is key. We all must serve a master ultimately. It simply depends on who or what that master is. You see, we live in a world where everyone wants God to be their personal butler, their personal therapist, as it were. They think that he exists to give them what they want and make them feel good about themselves. But the true God, he doesn't ask.
He wants you to feel like shit all the fucking time, okay? He doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't give a shit about what you want. You suffer. That's what you need, okay? That's good. That's true freedom.
To be your genie. He asks to be your master and your Lord, Colossians 4:1. I'm incredibly impressed then that Oliver would make a point like this, especially given the fact that it's so completely against what most people believe and what most people want. But it gets even more astounding.
No, it's not. Like the majority of people are Christians, dude. Like they make up 60% of the population, dude. Like,
Watch this.
And so when you made this transformation in your mind, did you then start reading scripture like regularly? Like what did you start doing?
Yeah, well,
that was different.
Well, what really, I guess it's like now I don't read it. I don't read it because I feel like I should read it to be a better person. It's like now I try to read it for the guidance within it. And I'm still in the infancy stages of a lot of this. Like I've read a lot of Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, and Luke, and there's other good books. But just trying to.
That was like a really weird cross section of books there. Like Psalms and Proverbs, okay, but Ecclesiastes, really? Why? That's fucking weird. Let's see. Tobin said, with the definition of idle, I would be idolizing food, sleep, and my work, along with many other necessary behaviors to have a healthy life. Exactly. Yeah, they vilify just being alive. That's sort of their thing, and it's in an attempt to control you. You know, they want you to feel shame for just doing like natural things and things that you need to do in order to survive. You're supposed to feel shame for that, and then they can use that shame to be like, come here, we got a cure for it. So they're going to give you the shame and then cure it. It's that is the whole model, I would say, of religious addiction. It's like addiction but religion kind of combined.
I don't know, like trying to restructure, I guess.
So he's still a baby Christian, as it were. He's new.
Who is that? This kid or the Richmond, North of Richmond dude?
New to the faith and in the early stages of learning about Christian teaching. And interestingly, Oliver says that he doesn't read the Bible to make himself feel like he's a better person. No, he reads the Bible because he genuinely believes that there is wisdom and truth in it, and that it's actually God's word.
Would anybody ever say that they read the Bible? I just read it to make myself feel better. That's what I do. I read it just good. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, because of how good the stories are.
Imagine that. And by the way, keep in mind, again, he's telling
Oh,
all
yeah.
of this to an 8.
I totally agree. Yeah. He looks like somebody who deserves a headache too. This kid, oh my God. He's just so smug. He's so smug and stupid at the same time, which is, you should not have both of those going on at the same time, man. If you can be stupid and humble, that's better. Okay.
Atheist. This is truly amazing stuff.
Like there's things it says, like, and I'll be very brief with this, I promise. But like one thing,
Ember knows this dude. Ember said, "Oh, Colin, today, Mr. Christians are so oppressed." Yeah, that sounds about right. I've just come upon this guy recently, so this is new to me. But oh my God, is he a smug bastard? He's just like, oh, it's amazing.
My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart. For they
keep the words in your sight. I think the dude took too much acid and his senses were mixing up. I don't know.
They are life to those who find them, and health.
Start smelling colors. You know what I mean?
The one's whole body. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Keep your mouth free from perversity. Keep corrupt talk far from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways.
Is this anything anybody needs to know? Like, I'm so fascinated by this. Like, most of the stuff, they're like, yeah, you should walk forward when you're walking and don't trip and fall on stuff in their path, And like, that is deep. How did you even come up with that? That was, wow. Can we write that down? Can somebody write this down? Can we do that?
Do not turn to the right or the left. Keep your foot from evil. But
That's pretty.
That was a political verse, for, it's just forget the right and the left. Just, be a centrist.
Profound.
but the whole book of Proverbs is like that. Like, it's not preachy. It's not what you think. Like,
It is absolutely preachy. What the fuck are you talking about, man? It's preachy from a dude that believed he was given the gift of wisdom from God.
like, it's good guidance. It's like good guidance that you would want a father to give to his son.
First off, let's all take a moment to recognize the fact that Oliver actually brought his Bible on the set of Joe Rogan's podcast and had it with him.
Is that a verse? Oh, God said, eat this scroll that you may gain its wisdom. That sounds like something that would be in it. Like, is the word eat right in that? No, that's what he said. Write it down. Keep it. No, we're keeping it.
The whole time. That alone deserves a round of applause. But then, instead of taking time on this insanely popular podcast to promote his own music and his own brand and his own self and potentially make tons of money, Oliver decides to take a moment and read.
That was exactly what he was doing, by the way. Like, it's that and, okay? It's that and being a Christian kind of sells the whole package, man. Like, if you're a country singer up there talking about Richmond, North of Richmond, like, Christianity is like expected of that person. Like,
read the Bible to Joe Rogan instead. And shockingly, Joe actually says that the passage he heard was profound. And then Oliver encourages Joe that
Oh,
the
God,
Proverbs,
really?
for example, are not.
Ember said his first big video was presenting Craig's Kalam as if it were the ultimate in philosophical thought. Guys, if the universe began to exist, and it did, then there must be a God. Our God, for fuck's sake. Yeah, okay. Wow, that sounds about right. Because that sounds about the level of convincing this guy would be, He doesn't seem to give it much thought. I think he thinks his inflection is all that's necessary. Well, then, of course, it would be obvious that we would see a God in existence. Because, of course, it would, that's like
Not preachy or annoying like many people falsely believe. Rather,
like you.
they are just perfectly solid guidance given as if from a father to a son. So when you take all of this into account, it paints an incredible picture. Oliver Anthony, singer and songwriter behind the wildly popular song Rich Men North of Richmond, he went on the most popular.
No, really? Where Bruce said, yeah, God force fed an entire scroll to, was it Ezekiel? One of the prophets? She was like, get the fuck in the mouth, magic. It's like the end of that movie Misery. It's like, eat it, you bitch, eat it. Stick it in there. That's awesome.
Podcast in the entire world. A podcast hosted by a militant atheist. And he brought the Bible with him. Then read.
God damn it, he needs to stop calling this guy a militant atheist. Militant now. He's gone past the label of just atheist. Now he's a militant atheist. Are you fucking kidding me? He's agnostic at best, man. I don't think I've ever heard him say that he was an atheist. I've heard him say agnostic and he's a non-believer in any particular religion, but he's not an atheist because he would never have the level of podcasts that he does in popularity if he was an atheist, especially not if he was a fucking militant one.
Read the Bible, then gave his testimony, then he promoted the lordship of Christ and called out the idolatry of our modern culture. You see, if all of that is not something we can rejoice about as Christians, I'm not sure what is. It's clear that Oliver is becoming a big influence in the world, and let's pray that he continues to use that influence for God's glory. And that is the truth about Oliver Anthony and Joe Rogan. Please pray for this channel and for anyone mentioned in the video, and check out the ministries linked in the description. Like, subscribe, hit the bell.
Yeah, all that stuff, but for me, not this idiot. Okay. But, and if you want to hit something, then go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brantley at checkout and get 50% off almost any one item. 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. And the packaging is discreet. They've got 50 years of satisfaction guaranteed. It's America's most trusted source for sex toys. So, that's, you definitely want, if it's going to be something going in and out of your body, you need to make sure that you're getting it from a trusted source. Okay. You don't want that from just any, you don't want to get that from the guy that opens up his trench coat. You're walking down the street. He's like, hey, I got some dildos for you. What do you think about that one right there? Is that too big for your hole? Well, I got some small stuff too. Yeah, these are a bit more comfortable. But yeah, so if you could do that, that'd be great. Go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley, that's Brently at checkout to get your exclusive offer. Other ways to, if you want to help support the show, it'd be great. We have a bunch of ways that you can support the show. The easiest and quickest, I think, is, well, to like and subscribe. That always helps the video. But also, if you want to like help us financially, it would be greatly appreciated. Kind of struggling lately, but if you want to go to Cash App, my cash tag is Punk Apostate, all one word, and that really helps out. And we also have a Patreon if you want to sign up for that, and you get a podcast, and you get extra videos too. So you get extra episodes of the podcast, and then you get extra videos of this show as well. So it's kind of a twofer. Patreon, and that's patreon.com/unapologetics. It's like the word unapologetic, but with an X at the end instead of a C. So yeah, check it out. It's really cool. And beyond that, like, just if you want to share the show around, that'd be really helpful. And make sure you stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time.